Hello there, this is Sohail Hasni, your host at Energypreneurs. Cheap solar power, batteries, and electric vehicles are changing the transport and energy sector as we know. I bring in guests to this podcast who will help you with their ideas to navigate this energy transition. Thank you for joining. Hi, good evening, Jonalyn and John. How are you today?
Good
Good
evening.
evening, Sohail.
You are BYD owners in the Philippines, right? I want to learn so much from you guys. Maybe introduce yourself first.
Okay, ladies first. So I'm Jonalyn Ang, a certified public accountant, business leader with over 20 years of experience in the field of accounting, taxation, auditing, and executive management. So my journey began in 2004. And then I followed by law studies at Reliano School of Law. Since then, I've dedicated my professional life to helping our organizations grow through financial discipline, operational efficiency, and innovative thinking. So currently, I serve as a Chief Operating Officer of Dynamic Minds Business Solutions, a consulting firm based in Parañaque. So we support over 200 clients and growing. So small businesses to large enterprises across a range of industry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John. My line of expertise is into cybersecurity. I have experience for more than 26 years. Currently, I'm running two companies. I'm the CEO and Chief Information Security Officer. The other one, the name is Greyback Security. It's a cybersecurity firm. And we've been helping companies secure their digital assets. So far, we're on our second year. We're growing fast, really fast.
Okay, the identity, of course, beyond your professional credentials, that you are maybe one of the early adopters of an electric vehicle in the Philippines. So, how is that experience going?
For me, we started 2 years ago because of fuel efficiency, but also for the love of Mother Earth. But as we understand more EV, it is where we fell in love of having the electric vehicles.
It was actually me who was convinced by a good friend. He used to have five, six. One day, I met him in an event, and then he showed me the brochure. And then after that event, he showed me the actual car. So from then on, he kept on convincing me. Probably he saw something in me. That's why he was very persistent. Because I also told him that me and my wife was planning to buy a car. And our preference is we don't want to contribute to the emission, and it's to help Mother Earth. So that was one of the key points when we will be buying a car. It was 1 year of researching. He was convincing us. And eventually, now he has replaced all of his EVs except for one car. The rest are all EV. So I was inspired by him. And then eventually bought our own EV car.
Of course, you're both accounting background, IT background. So, you will be the best person to share how has been the sort of savings from the fuel side. If some of the listener might say, okay, I'm not motivated that much by doing the right thing for the environment, but I just want to know that electric vehicles are much cheaper. What has been your calculation so far?
For me, if I would remember, we bought the car like July of 2024. And since then, I think only twice that we have loaded our combustion car. And then that's worth, we have 20,000 a month. Yeah,
Yeah.
20,000 a month.
It's an SUV.
It's an SUV. So we have a 20,000 a month budget for gasoline. And it will be almost a year now that we're no longer budgeting for a 20,000 a month.
Okay, so your savings about $20,000 a month, which is maybe 350 US dollars or something, right? 20,000 pesos. And of course, you don't have any concerns on range and others. So which BYD model you have?
It's a BYD Atto 3.
Okay, so that's even a bigger car than average car.
Yep.
And you are happy with the range? Because I think I interviewed someone, he said, I only charge once in every 5 weeks.
Wow.
You are driving quite a bit. You're in Parañaque, which is not Makati, and if you are coming to the main city, right?
That's right. That's right. So in our case, actually we charge at home. So what we do is whenever we go to the mall, that's where we charge. So it's still free. So it's been like that for 1 year. So it's 1 year of free gas. So we just timed it whenever we go to the mall to do the shopping, groceries. Although at home we do have our charger, but unless we were not able to schedule it properly, but as long as we time it, whenever we go to the mall, we were able to charge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. If you are saving $300+ a month on this, that's about $3,600 a year. That's close to 10% of the price of the car, no?
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of EV, probably people who are trying to get their or have not experienced using an EV, I think they have the term range anxiety. So in our case, before we bought one, we've already calculated. And whenever we travel, especially on a long distance, charging is always part of the travel time. So like in our case, we're able to bring it to a couple of times to La Union, went there and then went around La Union. And then for a couple of times, even Subic, even Quezon Province in Lucena. So we've been around using the car. But actually at the start, we admitted that this car is going to be used in city driving. That's very clear to us. But sometimes when we went out of Metro Manila, for as long as we add the charging time to our travel time. So far, no range anxiety. Of course, we plan our travel. So definitely, first we'll find where are those charging station. So there's quite a lot already around, even in the north, even in the south.
So which app do you use for finding charging stations?
So far, I have a couple of them in my application. So one is from AC Mobility, and then another one is Evro, EVRO. If there's a need, no? Going to the north, at the end of Tiplex, there is a Shell station who has a 180 kilowatt charging.
Supercharger almost, yeah.
Although, of course, there's a fee for it, but it's still cheaper than gasoline. Or just find the nearest SM, Robinsons.
We tried once in Marquee Mall
Ah, yeah, there's
Okay.
another one also
in Pampanga.
in Pampanga. Yeah.
We tried once.
What's the name of the mall?
Marquee Mall.
Marquee Mall. There's so many. Evo X Charge.
Yeah, Evo X. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. Whenever I go to that mall in Resorts World,
Yeah.
there you go.
Resource Walls also. So basically, across Metro Manila, you should not have any charge anxiety, range anxiety rather, and your car also can do more than 400 kilometers. All the places that you mentioned are less than 200 kilometers, right? Technically, you don't need a charge. You could have come back, no?
But
Correct.
we're just reassured ourselves.
Yeah.
It's actually a time to go to the mall, eat, and do something while you're charging.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. You are enjoying the first mover advantage, right?
Yeah. And of course, there's no coding.
You want to explain the coding? Because my international guests will not know, because this is very unique to the Philippines.
Yeah. Number coding. So here in the Philippines, on weekdays, there will be a day that you won't be able to use your car from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. A day, it would be based on the last number of your plate number. Like in our case, for our combustion car, our coding is every Tuesday. But right now, no more coding, so we can
Yes.
it's before when we only have that combustion cars, we can only on Tuesday we ensure that we don't have meetings so we don't go out. But
Yeah.
right now, no more worries. So we can meet anyone at any day
Yeah.
because no more coding.
So that's also a 20% more value. Like I swapped to an electric car also recently. Exactly the same reason my car had digit 6, which I never faced the color coding as a ADB staff. I was exempted from the color coding requirement. But
Right.
now I realized that Wednesdays I cannot drive my car.
Oh,
Now I got my electric car, so I am not from them. But this is also a very good incentive for someone making that decision, right? Because you are not part of the color coding.
Lost business if you weren't able to meet during those coding times. because there are a lot of opportunities that you will miss out because you won't be able to go out and you cannot easily get a grab or a taxi. So better be at home on those days. Unquantifiable loss opportunities.
Yeah. And slowly, a lot of our customer, unlike during the COVID days, it's okay for them to do via online meeting, but now most of them prefers to be face to face.
Yeah.
So for us, exemption from the coding is very important.
Okay. And also, I think your house, we visited that roof, right? Eventually, if you put a solar, you should be able to charge your car directly from solar as well.
Within
Yes,
We
we
did
did already.
Oh, you already got solar on roof.
like 2 months ago.
Yeah, we're on our second month.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Despite the increase in rates with Meralco, we are actually had a lower electric
Yeah.
bill.
We used to have an average of 22 to 25K a month for electricity.
About 400, 500 US dollars. Yep.
So during the first month, we just paid around 13,000 pesos, almost half already.
Yeah.
And given that there was a price increase, we heard.
Yeah, I think the next would be to get a home battery because then you will be negative. Like my house in Melbourne, last few months, the electricity bill has been negative, meaning we sold more than what we bought.
Wow.
Nice.
Very nice. So I wrote to the electric power company saying, why have not you paid me? It's a negative bill and a credit card because I have the credit card for auto debit. Then they say, oh, okay, we don't want to pay you back on your credit card auto debit. Why didn't you give us a bank account? We'll pay you back. I said,
Nice. That's the next step.
car also has V2L, like vehicle to load, right?
Yes.
So have
Sure.
you done a barbecue outside and things like that?
Not yet, but we're planning to. Yeah.
Because I'm not sure whether you can connect a 2 kilowatt induction cooktop, but you can connect a lot of things. But if you can connect an induction cooktop, you can go to a serious picnic, no?
Yeah. That's right. That's
Yeah, actually, they call EV like a big charger.
Big power bank.
bank. A big power bank.
yeah.
But you haven't tried.
Because I'm thinking of getting some of the electric vehicle owners in Manila, and then we go all the way to the north and Pagudput, maybe 1020. I think it would be very easy to mobilize and work with BYDs and Teslas of the world so that they make sure the infrastructure there to support. So I think it would be fun. No?
Yes.
Definitely. Yes. Yes.
So how many people have you influenced to buy electric cars so far?
So, I guess for me, I have already around two. They were very hesitant at the start. Actually, I let them ride the car. I was actually offering them to drive the car, but they opted to become a passenger and just and listen to me sharing the experience. And most of them, they were concerned with the reselling value. That was their concern. By the time that you will resell this, how much will it be? So in my case, I told them, yeah, it was also my concern when we were researching, studying. But eventually I told them, with the savings that I'll be having and all of its benefits, I think the reselling value will be less for me. At the end, imagine all the savings that I had and then the no color coding, so all of the benefits, I think it outweighs the reselling value. That's in my case. So that's what I always tell them. So for those two friends that I have, they already bought BYD also. One Atto 3 and then the other one was a Dolphin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For others, maybe that those are not buying, it's because of the offerings of the combustion. It's very zero down payment, but in EVs still you will have to pay like 20%. So those individuals that we are talking who are buying new cars that would really like to buy EVs, but because EVs are actually you need to pay like upfront 20%. So that's the reason we're not there.
Yeah.
But they really like buying, but because of the offerings of other combustion.
yeah.
But we call that an offer they cannot refuse, probably.
Yeah.
The normal gasoline cars in Philippines you can buy without paying a deposit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zero down payment.
Zero down payment. Or probably 1,000.
Yeah, very low.
1,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
1,000 peso, which is $20. Okay. But I think as the volume grows, so this is a message for the bankers and the financiers in the Philippines saying there are a lot of pent up demand sitting there, but the barriers for them to come into the EV space is that 20% down
Exactly.
payment required that the current EV companies are asking for, right?
Yes, yeah. Maybe if they can help in this area, pretty sure there's a lot of people who are interested in getting different brands of EV because there's a lot already here in the Philippines.
One of the turn-offs that I've heard is it's higher insurance, the insurance of the combustion car.
Yeah, I think also people getting used to it. And how much insurance do you pay on your car? Do you remember?
Yes, our combustion cars is just around 17,000 to 20,000 pesos. But
Mhm.
right now we paid like 40,000 for our
EV.
So
I-
almost double.
Yeah.
So
More than
300 to about $450. Okay.
And also, it was supposed to be like more than 60K in pesos. It's a good thing that Jonalyn, she's a broker. So we were able to get it down. But if not, maybe if I can remember it right, it's around 60K. 65.
And I have to then renew my insurance with your car because I ended up paying quite a lot more.
I could have shared that with you.
I did not know because I got a Tesla last week, finally, because I have the same car in Sydney. So I just wanted, and I think I'm paying maybe 65 or more, 70 maybe.
When you actually pay or get your insurance directly to where you bought it, it's the price. But if you would be able to find somewhere else,
Okay, so we have to go through journaling next time. Now, coming back, the other point that you mentioned about reselling value. A lot of people don't appreciate our car that my wife drives in Sydney. It's been 2 years. We have never gone for maintenance or anything except I took it to someone, cost $10, that sort of rotation of the wheels, $10 or $20. That's the only cost we have. Even for filling up air, I bought one of those battery USB thing you press and fills up your car. But had it been a equal price car, at least you would have paid $500, maybe even more, even in the Philippines, for your change of oil, spark plug, regular
Yep.
maintenance of 5,000, regular maintenance of 10,000 kilometers, right? So these
Yeah.
all should be taken into account. If you think of us selling a car in 5 years' time, what is
Right.
my price? Have you
Yes.
taken your car anywhere yet?
Its first PMS at 3,000. So it's paid like probably around 3K or 4K just for the cleaning of the brakes and very minimal. I brought the combustion. It's already 60,000 kilometers. I paid around 23,000 pesos.
So
Yeah.
they change the oil, the spark plugs, the long
Yep.
list of things.
Yeah. So if you go to Mitsubishi, if your car is Montero, so it's 60K. Whatever that comes with it, it's around 3,000.
What the average person don't appreciate, right? The internal combustion engine car. You take air, mix with fuel, you have a carburetor, you have a range of spark plug, you burn it, create the spark, run your crankshaft, run your flywheel, car moves. A large portion, more than almost 80% of the energy goes into heat, like an incandescent light bulb.
Yeah.
That heat, to cool it down, you now need engine oil, you need a whole radiator, you need a radiator coolant, and the bloody radiator leaks 5 years' time. So as car gets older, all these other things become older, including the air conditioner, because the air conditioner runs through an alternator because you need an alternator to generate electricity inside the
Yeah.
car. But you come to electric car, batteries, motor. Your air conditioner runs on electricity. Light runs on electricity. They don't run with an alternator. So it's a very different ball game, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Very different. And it's quiet. You're not generating unnecessary heat that you need to have a cooling system.
Yes.
So
Yep.
people don't appreciate that it's not just the car that depreciates or sees technical problem. It's all the little things here, spark
Yes.
plugs, carburetor, blah, blah, blah.
And they're all costly.
Yes.
Yes, correct. Yep.
And also, they would like to consider that if there's a lot of interest buyers already for EV cars in the future, the selling value actually of the combustion. Because if there's no longer demand for the combustion in the coming years, then
It's gonna go down.
that
Yep.
might they would like to consider as
Yeah.
well.
Yes, that become a stranded asset that I personally believe that's happening. And I felt it last month when I tried to sell my combustion car because someone mentioned, and I also look saying, why will someone buy a 6-year-old car? Yes, it has done only 25,000 K. With the same price, you can buy a brand new BYD. Why you want to buy this old car? And maybe BYD or equivalent, that car is better than this. So it's side by side comparison. It gets very difficult, especially now that in the Philippines there is no excise duty, right?
Mm, that's
Yeah,
right.
stranded asset is a big risk.
Stranded asset. That's also one thing that they would like to consider or might not be able to consider as well.
Yeah, for me, there was another factor beyond the number coding, which was because I travel a lot. So if I'm in Sydney for 6 weeks, I have to call a friend saying, can you please start my car because the battery might go flat?
Yep.
That is a problem. So electric car, you don't have that issue because if you do not run Sentry mode or other things on a Tesla, so the battery depreciation is almost less than 0.5% a day, maybe even zero if you don't
Yeah.
run any internal system. So
Yeah.
you can come after 2 months, your car still has 50% battery, as
Mm.
opposed to asking a friend saying, can you please start my car?
Yeah, that's right. And for our BYD Atto 3, there's an apps already, an application that allows you to start it and also turn it off if you want to anytime. So you don't have to ask anyone if in case, but you don't have to do that in an EV.
Yeah, you don't have to, unless you want to scare the neighbors. Okay, what's
Yeah,
house?
that's right.
Looks like you are having a lot of fun with your car.
Yes.
That is also a factor, no? When people buy that, to have a joy with a toy. This is ultimately a toy, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Compared to the combustion that we
Yeah.
have. But we're still not gonna sell it for the reason of sentimental value.
Yeah, the combustion.
And
Probably
just
somewhere in the future.
Yeah, you have to keep it starting every month, make sure the battery doesn't go flat.
Yeah. And actually considering to get another one.
BYD truck.
Yeah, bigger one.
One other benefit you have in the electric car, because I use that quite a bit, is you can take a Zoom call in the car. Even you can go to a supermarket, park your car, run your air conditioner, and take a meeting. You don't
Yeah.
want to run your air conditioner because you will be producing so much carbon monoxide and it's not acceptable. But
Yeah.
here you can run your air conditioner, watch Netflix and whatnot if you're waiting for someone. That is pretty good value as well, no?
Yeah, I have one experience like that as well. I teach in a university and I was trying to wait. I came early. What I did was I just sat in the car, turned on the aircon in the parking of the university. They're very strict. They don't want you to turn on your engine while you're in the parking area. In my case, I was watching a movie and the guard in front, I saw him. He was moving and when he was already in front of the car, he saw that there's light. So he thought that the car was running. When he came closer, he knocked at the window. He said that, sir, can you turn off the car? Can you turn off the engine? I told him, mission, there's no engine. It's an EV. Ah, okay, all right. Okay. So please continue. Yeah, because there's a lot of parking area here in the Philippines that they don't allow you
Yeah,
to turn
it should
on.
not be because carbon monoxide that cars produce, especially
Yeah.
from a basement 1 or 2 or
Correct.
3 or 4, that there's no escape for those gases.
That's right.
It's very dangerous. Wow. Which are you planning to get another BYD?
We've seen one, the BYD
The shark.
Shark.
That's very good because BYD is growing so fast. I think last quarter in Australia, BYD sales were 4 or 6 times more than Tesla sales. It's really doing extremely well. Yeah. Very good.
Check the other brand, but we prefer to get a bigger one.
Thinking of getting rid of our bigger car. Okay, I have to be honest. That's the dilemma of having a smaller car because when you go to groceries and you have a lot of things to buy. So when we went to Subic, we have to do like batches of buying goods because we ensure that it will fit in our car. So batch one, okay, good. Another batch, is there still a room?
Yeah.
Batch three, so not like before when we have a big car. And okay, buy as much as you can or what you need because you have a bigger car. So probably dilemma. That's why we're thinking when we found BYD truck, then this is the solution of my problem. My personal problem.
And also, I think BYD Shark is quite a big car. You should be able to do camping because a lot of people are doing when you make the seat flat, you can basically sleep inside the car, run air conditioner.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think it's more 500. Yeah, it's a pickup car and
The range
the
is
range is
longer,
longer than the BYD Atlas.
farther. Yeah.
Yeah, but range, I think anxiety is not relevant because average speed within Metro Manila, I think used to be 15 or 12 kilometer an hour. Where can you go? Because much. And then if you go long distance, Baguio people talk about, which is 4 hours drive, still 250 kilometer, and Baguio has so many chargers, right?
Yes. And even along the way. So yeah, as long as you plan everything, you know where the chargers are. And knowing that you have a longer range for your car, there should be no worries.
But also part of planning would also be plan A, plan B in the location because sometimes plan A location is not working. And you should have plan A, plan B.
Yeah, it did happen to us at the early stage. I think it's the third time that we brought the car so big. So the charging station was under maintenance. Yep. And we were confident that there's a charging station there. It's a good thing there's an Ayala Mall there at that time. So though we were kind of in a hurry and we have other appointment there, we were not able to charge accordingly. So when we went back, we felt that, oh, I don't think we're gonna make it. But it's a good thing that along the way in Pampanga, there were charging stations.
How far have you gone down on your car? Have you gone down to 2%, 1%?
I think for me it's 10%.
Don't worry. My
Yes.
Model Y in Sydney, we went down to 1% twice. And the car is complaining, not good for battery health. And we had an appointment, so we went. And then when I went to a charging station, I was telling another person, saying, listen, sorry, I felt. He said, don't worry, I went to 0, but still you get 20 kilometers.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
We
So
can
I
go.
think-
There's a reserve, right?
Yeah, but I think the planning part is very important.
Yeah.
When first time I was driving and I was assuming, and this is in Australia, that everywhere there is supercharger. But we went to a small city between Melbourne and Sydney. So 5 hours Melbourne, 5 hours Sydney. So it's a tiny city called Eden. And I go there saying, there's no supercharger. And we were down, we entered the city with 5% charge. But the next nearest city is 150 kilometers. Ouch. Then I look for, there is 2 motels that has charger. But I go there and it's a 10 kilowatt or charger. So I had to sit down 1 hour, slowly making some calls, getting coffee. That was really range anxiety plan in a way, because the nearest city, I could not go without that charge reaching that at least a threshold, right? 10 or 15% charge. So yeah, so planning comes very important, but I don't think there is that risk in the Manila because you will not be anywhere where you don't have another city within 150 kilometers, right?
Yeah. As
And-
long as it's within Metro Manila. No
Yeah.
problem.
All buildings will probably in the measurement
Even-
eventually have a charger.
Charger.
Can you explain the law? I think you were mentioning earlier. What does the provision of the law roughly?
Yeah, actually, I'll get the exact discussion about. So it's actually a mandatory EV adoption for public and private sectors. For government agencies, private companies, and transport operators are actually required to transition at least 5% of their fleet to EV. So government fleets are also expected to lead by example. So incentives, there are a lot of incentives. The law is also giving us priority registration. So we got our plate earlier because
Yeah.
of
Okay.
problems to that as well. Exemption of the Unified Vehicle Volume Reduction Program, or what we call as numbered coding scheme
Yeah.
in Metro Manila. And then non-fiscal incentives like priority lane use and dedicated parking may be granted by LGU. So this is based on LGUs if they would like to implement that. EV charging infrastructure, all commercial and government buildings with parking facilities must allocate EV charging spaces. So real estate developers and malls are encouraged, in some cases required to install chargers. So those are still developing their buildings. So before the planning, there should be the EV charging infrastructure ready.
They should have considered it as part of the planning.
Yeah, the law was signed by President Duterte on April 15, 2022, but the law officially took effect on May 11, 2022. The implementing rules and regulation was released. Now, 23 onward, so we have in our business as an auditor been auditing condominiums. So that's already part of their budgets. I think there are a lot of companies that are giving free installations, but
Yeah.
with the collaboration that they be given a space in that condominium.
Yeah. Just to have them to have a
The-
charging
Yes,
station. in-
because probably they're actually looking at a source of income as well, because
Right.
eventually they have to pay for it. Most of the malls, like in Resorts World, Ayala Malls is actually charging already.
Yeah.
right? Landmark.
Easy
The Easy Mobility charging stations are actually charging, so there is a fee already.
SM.
It's
Silver.
free.
And charging price wise, I think 9 pesos per kilowatt hour is the Meralco electricity bill, roughly, right? It's
Yeah.
about, say, 20 cents, something like that, maybe less. And then Tesla charges 19 peso. I did into one of the malls, Uptown Mall, Tesla superchargers.
Mm.
And then I understand Shell and others charge 50 or 36 to 50 pesos.
Yeah, roughly.
But competition eventually will bring down those prices, right? Because it's
Yes.
an early adopter's price. Because there you have free, and then those who are charging 3 to 4 times the electricity bill, right?
Yes. Mm.
Especially the server charge are a little bit higher.
Yeah, and that's superchargers. Yeah.
Yeah,
It saves you time in charging.
Yeah. But I remember when we went to the Shell Interplex, so yeah, it's a little higher.
Yes.
That saves you time,
Yeah.
right? Like an hour of like
Less than
eating
an hour.
it. But we were eating dinner though.
One
for an
time when
hour.
we went to La Union, when we left the house, couldn't remember how many percent, but definitely it's below 80%. So we just went there, and then because we know that there's a charger, so you don't have to worry. So when we arrived at the end of T-Plex, we just charge, just to be sure. And it was our second time to go to La Union with that EV, with the Atto 3. So we're still getting used to it. And then now
We are used to it.
it's our way of life.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's actually very important sort of takeaway for anything that you got used to it. That risk may not be there. A bit of planning is important because it's early days. You turn up a chargers, and if it doesn't work, what's my contingency plan?
Yeah.
It happened to gasoline station also. You turn up and said, okay, you run out of fuel. You have to wait half an hour because our tanker is coming. It happened to me once or twice.
That's a possibility.
Same thing. So,
Yep. That's right.
Okay, so I have a test for you now. If somebody wants to be convinced and you are given 1 minute, so what should we tell in the Philippines about buying an electric car?
Okay.
Janalyn, you want to try, or John? One of you. Do a sales speech. I want to hear. What are the things?
as an accountant, so you want to save, buy EV. And this is the thing in the future. And also the opportunities of having a number coding. Actually, it's more as well of the safety. It's more safer to use the EV cars as I have experience.
Okay. In my case, first of all, savings no, in terms of the comparing it with gasoline, there's a big savings as mentioned. our combustion, we pay around almost 20K a month.
Mm.
We allocate 20K of budget for that in pesos. And when we shifted to EV, as long as we planned everything right, we're not paying anything. Yep, for the gasoline. No? So for the charging even, because we charge at the mall, specifically at SM. So that's savings. And then the other one, still savings again in terms of doing maintenance for the car, like our regular PMS. Unlike with our combustion, usually we pay around 10,000 pesos roughly. No? Whenever we go to the casa, it's always 10K, roughly 10K, 10K. And then there's a milestone wherein you go beyond 10K, 60K, we paid around 23,000. But in so far in our BYD, when I brought it to the casa at 3,000, roughly I just paid, I think it's less than 4K or 3K. It's just for the cleaning of the brakes and those things. But other than that, in my case, for us, I don't think I'm gonna go back 20K. So since we are first time buyer, a user of EVs, I'll go back at 10K. So it's almost 10K already. But I was told that for BYD, even if you have it checked, you don't have to pay anything unless they have to change something or do a cleaning or something. Other than that, there's no cost for that. Yeah.
And
And
also
yeah.
traffic, right? Before, when we are in the traffic, we will always think of the gasoline cost of being in the traffic. But right now, regardless of how long you'll be in the traffic, no gas. So it's okay.
I just checked our car. We have done 21,000 kilometer in Sydney, but we have never been to Tesla yet.
So and then of
Just
course-
imagine if that was another gasoline car, 21,000 kilometer, you already went to 3-4 times.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Correct. Yeah. And then, of course, in my case, very important for me is the number coding. So there's no limit in bringing the car out. And then, of course, I love Mother Earth. I don't want to contribute to further emission.
Yeah, and those people who might say Philippine electricity is not fully 100% renewable, but the issue is you already have a rooftop solar. It can be zero carbon footprint and traveling all over Philippines, no?
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Jonalyn and John. Is there anything else you want to mention?
So I guess for the people who will be listening, those who are planning to switch to EV, you can do a test drive. Ask for those people who have experienced it already. Don't ask from those who haven't tried it yet, because those are usually assumptions. You do your research, of course.
Because they said that, is it the right time? That's also our question. Is it the right time? Can we wait for a more innovative one? But yeah, actually, when we got another versions of what we have, nothing much of an improvement. So it's always the best time to buy.
You get the front loading of the benefits, right?
And lastly, if you will see the streets in Manila, the numbers are increasing already. So when we decided, okay, let's look for BYD brand of cars. So way back, it was quite hard to find one. But
And now every corner you can actually see BYD cars.
different brands, no? Yeah.
Looks
Pro-
like a
probably-
very excited EV owner couple in the Philippines, huh?
Yeah, but we would like to move the game to Tesla so that
Yeah.
we you have a point.
Yeah. Tesla, the Model Y, they are selling 30 a day. I think that's what they were doing. So maybe a few months' time, there will be quite a number of new Teslas coming in also. But how can people reach you, both of you? What's the best way? Social media, LinkedIn, where? If people want to connect with you, Jonalyn and John.
For me, you can actually connect me to Jonalyn Ang at Facebook.
Thank
And,
you so much for your time.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Energypreneurs. To continue listening to this conversation, please visit us at Energypreneurs. Thank you. See you next time.